I'm going to take you through everything you need to know to make this exact purse, and it's super easy with no pattern needed. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca and I redesign old thrifted items and I show you step by step how to do it. It's super beautiful. It even has a zipper installed and lining. I'm going to guarantee you that you want to make more after you've made it because it looks so professional. It also has a thick bottom so that when you fill it up with things, it's still going to hold up the shape. I really hope that you guys will like this tutorial and that you will give it a try, and let's get started. Okay, so we're starting with a folded fabric, and this is a very thick fabric. It is a furniture fabric, and we're going to measure 40 centimeter one way and then 50 centimeter the other way. Once you have measured all the way across the fabric, you're going to connect all the marks and you're going to cut out 2 identical squares with the measurements. I also had to cut up the bottom since it was a folded fabric. Next, we're going to take the 2 bottom corners and we're going to measure 5 centimeter one way and 5 centimeter the other way. And then we're going to connect those marks so we have a small square in one of the corner. And then we're doing this exact same thing on the other side. On the top part of the purse, we're going to measure in 5 centimeter here as well. And then from the outer edge of that corner to the inner edge of the other corner, we're going to connect those marks and we're going to draw a diagonal line. Do the exact same thing on the other side of the purse. Then you can go ahead and cut away all the excess fabric. Next, you can go ahead and cut out a lining as well, and I'm just using an old bed sheet for that. And this is a dark satin bed sheet, which is perfect for lining this purse. Next, we're going to cut out 50 by 10 centimeter straps, and we're going to cut out 4 of these. 2 of them are going to be the long strap for the purse, and the 2 other ones are going to be the handles of the purse. Next, we're going to make some stabilizer on the inside of the lining. So we're going to copy the top part of the purse and we're going to make it 8 centimeter long. Next, we're also going to trim away some of the top part of the lining. Since we're going to add stabilizer, we don't need the top part of the lining. And we're adding seam allowance, so we need to cut away about 6 centimeters so that when we sew the stabilizer together with the lining, it's going to match up perfectly with the outer purse. Next, we're going to take the outer layers of the purse and we're going to sew these side seams together. Then go ahead and press the seam open so that it's nice and flat. Then you can go ahead and sew the bottom of the purse together and press that seam open as well. And I'm just using a tailor hem inside so that I can press all the seams nice and flat. Then you can take the corners and match up the side seams with the bottom seam and sew a straight stitch over the corners. And I figured that my purse was a little bit too floppy, so I actually seam ripped and took away the purse because I wanted to add some interfacing so that it was a bit stiffer. So I added some hobby interfacing and I interfaced both layers and I sewed the purse together just as I explained earlier. Next, we're going to sew a zipper in between the stabilizer and the lining, and make sure that the zipper teeth and the zipper is facing upwards, and take the stabilizer, sandwich the zipper in between and sew it together. Then do the same thing on the other lining, but make sure that the zipper is going to be able to close when you turn everything out. Match up the zipper and make sure that everything is correct. Next, you can sew the side seam of the lining together and also make sure that you press the zipper upwards so that the zipper teeth are facing upwards towards the opening of the purse. Once you've sewed that together, you can sew the bottom of the purse, leaving a little gap for turning everything around. Next, sew up the corners just as we did with the outer purse. Now go ahead and grab those strips that we cut up earlier and sew 2 of them together, and then press the sides inwards and fold it 1 time, and then sew 2 stitches on the edge. This is going to be the long strap on the purse. Next, for the shorter straps, you're going to take the 2 other strips and you're going to sew them together, right side facing each other, all the way around, leaving a little room to turn it around. Then I'm taking some fabric scraps that measures almost the same length as the outer strap that we're going to sew, and I'm rolling it up into a sausage. And then I'm taking some thread and I'm turning it around this sausage shape so that it keeps the shape. And then I'm turning the strap around so that it is right side facing out. After I've turned it around, I'm going to insert this sausage that I made and I'm going to sandwich it inside of the strap. And this serves as also some sort of a stabilizer and something that makes the strap handle more rounded shape. Then I'm going to pinch the outer edges, the outer edge on the strap, and I'm going to sew them together by hand so that the handle looks more rounded. And I'm not sewing all the way down to the bottom because we want to have a little room for sewing the strap on. So about 2 centimeters from the edge, I'm starting to sew the outer edges together. Once I finished sewing the straps, I'm going to place them onto the purse and make sure that it is straight and that I'm happy with the placement. And then I'm sewing it on with my sewing machine, just some stitches for back and forth so that it's nice and secured. Next, I wanted to have some stiffness at the bottom of the purse, and I just used some very stiff hobby interfacing and some foam that I have laying around, and I actually just ironed the interfacing onto the foam, and then I cut away the excess fabric. I was considering using cardboard at the bottom, but this was a much better solution. And I ended up ironing on one more interfacing. Then I used some textile glue all over the foam part and I covered it with glue. And then I carefully placed it at the bottom of the purse. Once that was fully dried, I could start installing the lining and the strap inside. So I took the lining wrong side facing out and I inserted the purse inside, and then I also sandwiched the long strap in between those layers and I pinned it in the side seams. Then I sewed all the way around and I had to change needles 3 times because the needle broke because it was so thick. So make sure you have a very thick needle when you're sewing this together. Then you can use the hole that we just that we didn't close up earlier, and you can turn the purse around. And now it's time to go ahead and use your iron and iron all the seams and iron the flap down, the zipper flap. Make sure that it is nice and flat inside of the purse. And now we are done. It's super practical and I love this simple design of this purse. It is just exactly what you need in a purse. Long strap and then the 2 smaller handles is exactly what I need, and a zipper to keep everything inside. And also I love that it has a hard bottom because it just makes the shape very nice even though you keep a lot of things inside of the bag. that's it for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you learned something. And please let me know in the comments down below what you want me to do next. I put out new videos every Friday, and I will talk to you guys next Friday. Bye!